Hi, and welcome to ThreatTraq Essentials. We're going to take a look at some everyday cybersecurity lessons we can learn from this week's ThreatTraq stories. I'm here with Tony Tortorici, who was on the show this week. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Terrific. Let's talk about the story that Stan brought to us. That was about a DDoS attack. Tell me what that is and why it's important.
Now, a DDoS attack is where it's a denial of service across the internet. And it's really important to protect yourself against that, because if you are a victim of it, what happens is whatever system you're working with slows down or can't connect to other things out on the internet. And that is because you have a large group of systems out there basically beating down the door of your application or the platform that is connected to the internet. And that's basically a DDoS.
So what happened in this particular case? Is this DVRs being recruited to be a part of one?
Correct. So what's happening with this is there are a few different DVRs that have 3 different 0 days. And what a 0 day is, it is an exploit that does not have a patch for it. So it is considered, the 0 day or patient zero of a threat. So what's happening here is these DVRs have 3 different 0 days or 3 different ways to be exploited that are being used to turn them into part of a group that can do DDoS activity.
So if someone has one of these DVRs that's affected, what's some advice we could give them to protect themselves?
That's a really good question. And some of the advice that I would give is when you understand the things that are plugged into your network, whether it's home or a business, always try to keep in the loop on those particular devices, because sometimes they won't have an auto install and auto update. So what you need to do is, if you know about these DVRs, do the research, check every once in a while if there's updates available, read documentation and how to update it. Firmware updates are not as simple as some of the other things that are with your laptop or other machines. So you have to be careful with them and just keep researching and referencing the devices on your network to make sure that you can update them if possible.
Terrific. Let's talk about, you brought us a story about some recommended readings about cybersecurity at this time when a lot of us are working from home, and maybe because of still working, but maybe because of a shorter commute and more time on your hands, people have more time to read. So are there any books in that list that you'd recommend maybe for a non-technical audience that people should take a look at to learn more about cybersecurity and what's going on in the world?
Yes, there is. So I talked today about 8 different books that would be good for someone to pick up, do some reading around cybersecurity. One of them deals with social engineering, which is an interest of mine, but it is used not only for doing cybersecurity stuff, but social engineering can be used in any aspect of life. A prime example would be if you have children and you kind of talk them through, well, you can't have a cookie or anything unless you clean your room. And that's a prime example of it. So that's a good book that I think anyone would be able to pick up. And then if you want to get a general interest or kind of light reading across various facets of technology and cybersecurity, then Bruce Schneier did something where he wrote a bunch of various essays. So I think those would probably be two good ones to pick up, or at least look at the summaries on.
Okay, now Jim Clausing brought us a story about another big vulnerability. Tell me about that one.
on Monday, Microsoft announced a 0-day that affects, it basically deals with a particular font or font parser. And they have not patched it yet, so they have not released a patch. And it does a remote code execution. So with that, there is some concern to make sure that any network is protected against this various exploit to prevent any sort of nefarious behavior or remote code execution that would occur on a network. The discussion was well-rounded about what the exact exploit is, what it affected, and some mitigation that you can use to protect your environment.
So there's not a patch available, but you're saying there are workarounds one can use to protect themselves?
That is correct. And some of the workarounds were dealing with the preview pane when you preview a document within a Microsoft operating system. So that's one of them. There's a couple other things that you can do, but if you do not initiate a preview pane, that mitigates it. If you have an older version of Windows, so it'd be Windows 7 and then older versions of Windows 10, you can go in and locate that DLL and just get rid of it or rename it. That way it cannot initiate and cause the exploit.
Well, thank you, Tony, for being here, and thank you all for watching. As always, please like and subscribe below. And you can also click on the playlist if you want to take a deeper dive into any of these stories. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.